Hello, everybody. This is the Terra Tools for Earthly Abundance. I will be sharing a little bit of Tarot wisdom in terms of the way it can help and guide us towards abundance, towards earthly abundance, because we do live on this earth. Tarot is a way or a form of oracle that uses symbology, archetypes, archetypal figures to guide us into the hidden parts of our psyche, to open up awareness around many different themes in our lives. So it's a great tool to have and to use for energetic guidance. I use the Sacred Rose Tarot card deck. It's got 4 beautiful roses: red rose of sacrifice, blue rose of the impossible. This is the white rose of purity and purification, and the gold rose of absolute achievement. It looks a bit brown, but it is gold. So I've been doing tarot for almost over 10 to 12 years. And I've recently got this opportunity to share a little bit of tarot wisdom connected specifically to abundance, to the metaverse, to cryptocurrency, and to whatever else can connect us to creating abundance on earth. So I'll be using tarot, a 10-card tarot spread on a monthly basis, if not otherwise stipulated, to share the current story of abundance as a collective. So I have picked 10 cards for this month, for this full moon, and I'm very, very excited to share what has come up. So here it goes, going straight into it. There is a definite past story of scattering seeds. So the way we have been used to receiving abundance is taking a whole bunch of seeds and going into the fields, metaphorically speaking, and scattering them. So not necessarily digging holes and planting them carefully and looking at what soil is good for what seed. It's just about going out, throwing the seeds and seeing what grows. Nothing wrong with that strategy at all. But this is coming to light for us to see perhaps other ways to see what has grown and to harvest from what has grown and then plant seeds in a different way, possibly. So that is could be quite metaphorical for crypto. You might have had some seeds, i.e. some fiat currency to buy crypto, and you didn't know what crypto to buy, so you just kind of scattered your fiat currency all over the place to see what grows. And it was done so in a detached way. So it was, which is good energy. It's because you can, we all know in the crypto universe and cryptoverse, you can lose your money. You kind of have to be willing to give money or fiat currency up that you are willing to lose. So it's not a good idea to take your rent money or money, that fiat currency rather, that you need to use on a monthly basis for your survival, for your family survival. Okay, so we go from the past, from the story of scattering seeds, and it was done with a sense of detachment, a sense of general knowledge of what could possibly happen, but also not knowing. And in some ways, this kind of attitude with money, with abundance, has created and given us or you tools and strength in understanding the nature of money, in understanding, and that's what cryptocurrency in some way teaches us. It teaches us the ridiculousness of money. There's so much weight and heaviness around money and abundance in this world. And cryptocurrency in some ways is teaching us to detach, or the message of abundance, or the message of how we can actually create more is to detach. But this is still a little bit of the past story. The future story may be a little bit different. I'm just looking at the cards ahead, but we're going one at a time. So we've come to a point of learning. We've learned, we've got tools of strength, we've got an abundance of knowledge from scattering your seeds. So wherever you scattered your seeds, what you saw, what grew, you saw what died, and from that scattering you learned along the way of how to nourish what was grown, and learned why certain things didn't grow. Now we are at a point of generating abundance in a bit more of a gentle way, in a way that is not forceful, and a way that can grow big baobab trees, if that's what you're wanting to grow in your life. I know I would like to grow some big baobab trees, rooted, strong, grounded, nourishing trees. And this is all metaphorical and connected to abundance. And the way to do this is through gentleness and through nourishment. It's a reminder that at this time, scattering seeds is not the best option. This could change monthly. We all know energy changes. Those who are into energy, those who have studied energy of different types and kinds, we know that energy changes. So this month's story may be completely different to next month. Next month's energies might support us in scattering seeds again and growing in that way. But this month's story connected to this month's full moon is not about scattering seeds, and it's about also looking at not all that is glittery is gold. So not all that glitters is gold. I quite like that saying, because it's especially for this one specific card that I've pulled. And that means that perhaps in your life with abundance, you might be warming yourself by the wrong fire. So connected to the crypto world, you might be placing all your energy on one coin and hoping that one coin grows. And perhaps it will, perhaps it won't. But now is not a time to focus and warm yourself only on one coin. So looking at what you have scattered, seeing the few things that have grown, not just one thing, and not warming yourself, putting too much attention onto this one thing. So we've scattered our seeds, maybe a few trees have grown, we've looked at the biggest tree and we're like, yes, that big tree, I'm going to focus all my attention there. But perhaps, some of the little trees, you just got to sprinkle a little bit of fertilizer, compost, and those trees are also going to bloom. So it's a good time to look at all the seeds that have grown and not focus too much on one, and not put too much weight or too much emphasis on one of these coins growing. Okay, so the story continues. And it asks you to take a step back and learn. So learn about abundance. Learn from your mistakes, learn from the past, which there's an energy of showing that you have done this, or people have done this. This is a reading that might resonate with many people, one person. If you are watching this, then perhaps this definitely is for you, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's time to learn. It's time to also look at any gaps in your knowledge. that if you could fill these gaps, abundance would flow into your life. So this is not only connected to the crypto world, this is connected to perhaps your career path or your sense of purpose. And so if you take some time to learn and to reflect, and one of the best ways to learn is to reflect on this past year, to reflect on this past month, and see, and just to have a like an honest check-in with yourself and see what are the gaps in what you're doing in life that are blocking you from receiving abundance, from creating abundance in your world. And so it's a good time for that. It may also be quite practical and a message of go take a short course that's going to up your skills and help you with nourishing those few trees that have grown. This is a time for rest. So it is December time, and there's a perfect card here that is speaking to rest. Time to rest your mind more than anything. Your body might be engaged in many different activities, sports, visits, family, friends, dancing, whatever you enjoy doing, yoga. And that is fine, but it's also important to take a mental break. So if any physical things you are doing in your life supports you taking a mental break, then it's a good time to then continue with those things. But it's a good time to stop also and rest and stop anything that is catalyzing too much thinking, too much looping. Yeah, it's a time for a mental break and just to step back. And then the final card of the 10 card spread is speaking to the element of fire. So with tarot, the tarot cards work with the elements fire, earth, water, air, and ether. And the fire cards have been quite strong. That energy was speaking to learning something new or reflecting. So taking action to shift things. So taking action to go forward in life, but also not too much action. So there's a gentle balance. We're going to recap on this whole story. There are many different elements. So the fire element is to hold your fire also, to acknowledge your fire, but to also slow down your fire and cultivate your fire to warm you, not to burn you, and not to use too much of your wood before, otherwise then your fire is going to be burnt out quickly. Yeah, and it's a time to actually really hold back. You might have a lot of fire, a lot of energy, and you want to spend it all. You might have a lot of fiat currency and you want to put it all into crypto. If you do that, nourish a few trees that are growing, not just one tree. That's the message for that specifically with crypto. Okay, so that is the monthly Terra Tools for Earthly Abundance. I'm going to recap, rewind. This is a bit of a new process for me, so I'm learning as I go. But one thing I will say is that I do trust the tarot as an external tool outside of me to read symbols and signs and to get messages from my psyche that I'm not necessarily conscious of or aware of. So I have specifically said a little prayer and open space to receive some of this guidance. Okay, so we are coming from a past of scattering seeds, and it's a time we did this in a bit of a detached way, and we learned a lot about that process. And now the process is shifting a little bit. It's still okay to scatter a little bit, but to well, not really scatter, you're now nourishing. You're nourishing the few little trees that did grow and not putting too much emphasis on the one big tree or the biggest tree. Remember, there are still little trees, and you might want to sprinkle some things here or there because that could grow. And this speaks to crypto. This could be very metaphorical, symbolic for other parts of your life. This is also for you to actively reflect and see if there is any resonance with some of the symbols that are coming up or the metaphors that are coming up. And you've gotten to a point of learning and having enough tools to now nourish your trees. Now you know what grew, what didn't, and you can see what's grown, and it's a good time to nourish all the little trees too, not just the biggest tree. I keep repeating that because it's important. And the energy of this month is to really soften and sit back a little bit. It's a time for contemplation, for reflection, and to see where there are gaps in your knowledge or gaps in your awareness that you can take some time to reflect on. That will actually help you nourish those trees and help them grow further. So stepping back, taking a mental break is really important. So taking a mind break, whatever that means to you. That can mean different things to different people. It really depends on your context and the nature of your routine in life. Some of you might sit in front of the computer all day, and that takes a lot of mental energy. So it's a good time to step back from that. Some people are very active and their work is very physical and interactive and social. And if that does not cause mental strain, then it's okay to keep going with that. But it's a good time to have space and time to reflect and to get your mind realigned. Okay, and then the last card is about also holding back your fire a little bit, while at the same time holding your ground, standing your ground. So if you believe there's a certain way, a certain coin, a certain thing that is going to contribute towards your earthly abundance, then stand your ground and don't let anybody sway you. It's also a good time to not just listen to anybody's advice, including mine, but anybody's specific advice about where to put your funds, what coins to buy. It's a good time to keep your vision and to maintain your vision. Don't get lost. So that's what I'm going to say about that. That is a little sneak peek or a beginning of Terra Tools for Earthly Abundance. Abundance is specifically in this context of the show is connected to cryptocurrency as well as different forms of abundance that could come. And that conversation will grow as we go. So wishing you goodness, love, and joy this festive season. I will be showing a bit more of abundance energy on a monthly basis. So that's that. Have a beautiful festive season.